Hey, welcome back to my channel. It's been a minute. I wanted to sort of give you guys a little bit of an update video with today's video. I didn't want to sort of, I've been gone for a while, so I feel like diving straight back into a tutorial or diving straight back into a filmmaking video or something along those lines, or even just a normal video in general would just be weird. Like, I feel like I need to address where I've been, what I've been doing, and not just jump straight into it after not really doing anything on YouTube for a while. If you're seeing me for the first time, if this is the first video you stumble across, I'm sorry. This is more a video for the people that already follow me, a video for the people that have been following my work for a while. It's not so much a video for those of you that are completely new to my channel. If I glance down, I'm going to be looking at my notes. I'm going to try and script my videos a lot less. I got in the habit of scripting literally word for word my videos, and that's great because I get to cover every single topic, but I feel like the best conversations I ever have, the best videos that I ever make are the conversations that I have with friends, the conversations that I have to people, and the times where I'm just talking off the cuff about things that I'm passionate about. And I feel like you lose that as soon as you try to script your videos. So, I mean, first things first, where have I been for the last few months? I mean, I did release a tutorial or a video, an editing video about a month ago. But beyond that, I've pretty much been gone for most of this year. I moved house at the end of last year. I got busy. The period of time that I was making YouTube videos really consistently last year is notoriously a bit of a down period for filmmakers or videographers or freelancers. Winter sort of comes and people continue working through the winter, and then July sort of hits and no one's really doing much work around that time, or at least that's my experience. My busiest time of the year is always from sort of January or December or November to about April is my busiest time of the year. Obviously, I'm not very busy right now, which is why I'm getting back into this. But yeah, that's notoriously my busiest time of the year. So last year when I was creating 3 videos a week, I was freelancing, sure, but I wasn't freelancing much. I was sort of able to handle the workload because I wasn't doing much freelance work. Whereas as soon as November hit, my freelance work ramped up. I started making more money. I continued having to pay rent. So, you know, YouTube doesn't pay me anything at the moment. So I needed to make money, and unfortunately, that meant that I needed to go and do the things that were making me money, because it didn't really make sense to me that I could, you know, make a YouTube video. And it does make sense. Of course it makes sense. It means that I'm doing this for my future. I'm doing this with the intention of hopefully building an audience and hopefully being able to do this full time in the future. But for now, I make a YouTube video and I put the same amount of time into it, and I might make $15 from that YouTube video. Whereas I go off and I get a job with a client and I might make $5,000. So it's difficult for me to comprehend, or difficult for me to justify not doing that in that moment. So I got busy. I moved house. I've spent the last few months sort of covering myself in tattoos. Yeah, it's just been a busy time, if anything. That's about it. I sort of, really neglected the YouTube side of things because I got too busy. I also really struggled with actually finding direction. I think the reason why I initially stopped is because I don't have a direction with my YouTube channel. I think a lot of the conversations I have with people, you know, initially it's all about getting over that hump of talking to the camera, getting over that hump of hitting the record button, setting up your microphone, setting up the lights, and getting going. But once you get over that hump, it's then, how can I actually get a little bit of direction with this? Because the thing about making YouTube videos is, you know, client work for me is simple. Client work is really, really easy. I get given a brief. I get to go and shoot something that's already planned. All I have to do is tell the story. Whereas with YouTube videos, it's not as simple as showing up and hitting the record button. I have to, you know, a lot of planning has to go into every single video, because I don't want to release something that's worthless to you guys. I don't want to release something that doesn't mean anything. I don't want to release anything that's sort of pointless and you get to the finish line, you're like, why did I waste 15 minutes watching a video that I don't really give a shit about? And that's what I've been struggling the most with. It's like whenever I sit down and edit a photo, or whenever I sit down and, do a wrong hand, whenever I did that painting, it's like all I have to do is sit down and start creating. And I find that very, very easy. Obviously there's edits, like for example, this edit here or this one that I did recently. It's like, sure, those have direction and I know what I want to create before I start creating it. But with a lot of my images and a lot of my paintings and even some of my drawings, for example, that are now tattoos on my body, like a lot of them start from just starting and not really paying attention to what I'm doing. It's just about putting pen to paper or putting my hand into Photoshop and just starting. Whereas YouTube videos require a lot of planning, they require scripting, they require ideas, they require knowledge, they require research. A lot has to go into it before you even hit the record button. So that's what I've really struggled with is combining not only my ability to now talk to camera, I'm now very comfortable talking to camera. I don't care about what people think of me when I'm talking to the camera in public. I don't care what people think of me in regards to releasing YouTube videos. I'm over that hump now. It's now about finding direction. It's now about finding something to really base my channel off of. And I think the way I'm sort of looking to do that is I got a piece of advice years ago from my art teacher when I was in high school, and he talked about the blank page effect. It's like as a writer or as a painter or as a digital artist, looking at a blank page is the most difficult part of any creator's journey. It's the thing that we dread the most because once you've already started something, it's easier to get back into it. But starting something is always the most difficult part. And he talked about this idea of finding ways to eliminate the blank page effect, finding ways to stop encountering the blank page. And he said it's done by setting restraints. He sort of decided for me back in high school that I really enjoy painting and drawing portraits and the human figure. So whenever we would sit down to start a new project, I already knew flat out that I just had to do a portrait or a human being, like a figure, something like that, or a portrait of someone I know or a celebrity or something like that. And by having just the prompt of you are going to paint a portrait or you are going to paint a human being, immediately eliminated that friction that you get at the beginning of a project. Rather than going into it with the blank page in my mind, rather than going into it with the idea that I have to start something fresh, I already knew what I was doing. I just needed to find how I was going to do that. And I think that's what I lack with my YouTube channel is I lack restraint. With my Instagram page, I know that it's going to be digital art for landscape photographers. It's going to be combining landscape photography with digital art. And from that sets a restraint for me to create. I know that I have to create within those boundaries. Whereas my YouTube channel goes from, some days I'm doing tutorials on filmmaking, some days I'm doing lifestyle videos on how to be a better person, some days I'm doing stuff like this and just talking to camera. There's no real restraint set on me. Which is why I want to umbrella this channel under the term living creatively. Every single video I want to release from now on is going to be started with the prompt of living creatively. I think I love photography and I love filmmaking, but I love so much more to do with creativity. I love tattoos. I love drawing. I love painting. I even love, being fit and healthy and cooking and a whole bunch of stuff. And I think by setting the restraint of living creatively will allow me to sort of flourish creatively. It'll allow me to do things that I wasn't or didn't feel like I could do before. Because if I umbrella my channel as a filmmaking channel or I umbrella it as a photography channel, that's fantastic. But I don't feel like I want to do that. I don't feel like that's what I was made to do. I don't feel like that's why I make YouTube videos. Whenever I set out to make a tutorial, whenever I set out to make a video about filmmaking or photography, in the back of my mind, I'm always thinking, someone else has already done this better. Someone else has already made this video, and in my mind, that's something I don't want to do. Like, why would I make a video on Premiere Pro if there's already thousands of videos on Premiere Pro and thousands of videos that will be made about Premiere Pro? Why would I do that? Whereas I have my own unique self. I am unique. Like, we are all unique in our own way that we do things and how we create and how we live our lives. And I think that's how you can begin to tell stories that are going to resonate with people. Rather than, sitting down and making a tutorial on whatever, I would rather make videos like my last video where I just screen record and edit whilst I'm editing it, and I pump a little bit of entertainment into it and make it a nice, appealing video to watch, and also sound amazing, and throw a few jokes in there and do whatever and turn that into a video that represents me. I would rather make videos that sort of play off who I am as a person, as well as my own photography and digital art and filmmaking. I hope that makes sense. There's going to be some growing pains. Admittedly, even talking about it now feels weird. It makes sense in my head, but trying to translate it to camera doesn't really make sense. So if I make a video that's a little bit whack, if I make a video that's a little bit weird and doesn't really make any sense, that's why, because I don't really know what I'm doing yet. Give me time. I will know what I'm doing. I will know eventually. But for now, I think the best thing I can do is set restraints for myself, set boundaries for me to create within. So I eliminate that blank page, because right now the issue with YouTube is it's a blank page for me. There's no prompt, there's no direction. I just sort of aimlessly go about it without really thinking about it. So that's where I'm at the moment. That's where I want to get to, is finding a point where each day I know at least what I want to make a video about, rather than I don't know what I'm doing. Because I don't want to make videos for the sake of making videos. I don't want to release a video a week for the sake of releasing a video a week. And as much as last year when I was releasing 3 videos a week, as much as that was an amazing learning experience for me, and as much as I did value that time, it got to the point where I didn't want to make a video about, Photoshop because I thought it would actually help people, or I thought that I had something valuable to share. I wanted to make a video about Photoshop because I thought it matched the style of my channel, and I wanted to release a new video, which I think is a bad place to be. If you're thinking about doing YouTube, as much as the advice that everyone gives you is release videos, I encourage all of you to sort of approach it from the perspective of, what am I releasing and who is this content for? Unfortunately, you might end up in the situation that I'm in where you don't release any content, but I've got my fingers crossed for you. You probably will end up in a position where you're releasing content you really enjoy making and people really resonate with. So that's all I wanted to say today. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it feels good. Honestly, it feels good to be talking to camera again. It feels good to be making videos again. It feels good to be sort of creating in this manner again. I hope I'm going to be more consistent for longer this time. But yeah, I'm happy to be back. I'm stoked to be making videos again. And yeah, if you did enjoy this video, if you did enjoy this video, if you're someone who's returning to this channel, I really appreciate you. I do really appreciate you. It's bizarre to think that we have 6,000 subscribers on this channel, from a channel that has been incredibly inconsistent for the last few years. So I do appreciate every single one of you that watches these videos. So if you did enjoy this video, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time. And I can't remember my outro. What did I say? It's what did I say? I said leave a like, leave a comment. But as always, that's entirely up to you. And I'll see you guys next time.